Hello and welcome to Politically Incorrect Knitters, your knitting news source. My name is Pinkava, joined as always by the lovely Deplorable Knitter. And before the news, let's get to some knitting.
It's fabulous to be here. So I'm glad that we're starting the new year.
Yes.
I mean, everybody's
Hopefully.
like, oh, it's going to be a great new year and blah, blah. I mean, it's not going to be any better than 2020. There's still masks and COVID, but maybe something will be better. I don't know.
Maybe some.
Can it get much worse?
Well, yes,
but
don't.
I shouldn't even ask.
Don't. Try to be upbeat here. Upbeat
and happy. So what kind of knitting do you have going on?
Almost nothing. Let's start with the knitting. What knitting? No knitting. I have several interminable projects because, again, Hong Kong scarf, working on it. I have the Donald Trump undesirable #1 that I'm like part ways up. I mean, I could show it, but it's half of a cameo. It doesn't really make sense. I know I started a pair of socks for no reason. And I did an entire Christmas stocking. You could probably stick 2 infants in it. It is just massive. But I already had it all knit up and sent out. So we could post a picture right here in the middle so you can see it, and that'd be really awesome. Or not, you can just think of it with your mind that it's,
I think we'd prefer to see it. So
we'd prefer to see it. All right. I'll send you a picture of it then to put it in there. But yeah, it's it's a big wool Christmas stocking, and I had previously made a stocking for this lady, and it was really it was easy in that I was like, okay, so she has a second child. She wants a second stocking. What are we going to do? I'm like, okay, so I could find the yarn I had from last time. I'm like, okay, so do you want me to take these colors and like mix them around a little bit so it's a little different? Do you want me to change up the pattern at all? There was deer on this one. Do you want something else? I have like some golds and some purples that would probably go well in this color scheme, so I could, shift it so that they'll look different when they're together. And she's like, no. I want exactly the same thing, same colors and all. And that's it. I'm like, oh, good. And then so the pattern that I had, I adjusted because her first daughter's name was kind of long. So it was longer than the pattern allowed. So I stretched everything, and I was like, oh man, I didn't take any notes, but I did that. And they're not like decent notes like, oh, I did multiple rows here. So none of that. But I had just taken the chart and then written out how many stitches it was. I'm like, awesome. And then I brought the chart up, and it was like I had wrote the chart was however so many long, and I had written like 6, 6, and then 5 in the middle. I'm like, okay, so I added stitches there. I wrote like, yes, I saved myself. And then
Anne was going, thank you, past me.
Yeah. Like, past me, you were on it. This is incredible. And so I was, doing that. And then I had a picture of the other one. So otherwise I just like zoomed in so I could see how many rows I did. So I just kind of guessed, but what can you do? And then, so the yarn I used for the stocking, it's wool, but it's a little on the scratchy side, not super scratchy, but not, I wouldn't want to wear it for a hat or something, maybe a sweater, but, not so good. But so I had made the first stocking like 2 or 3 years ago. So so I'm digging around for all the yarn. I actually had I had the main colors of yarn left over from the last one, but I had to bring in a couple other yarns. So I had to kind of fake it a bit, like, oh, well, there's like 2 different reds in different sections of it, and they're slightly different from each other. I'm like, I hope that's not a big deal, because like matching exact colors, like
matching colors is the worst part of anything,
right? Like, even if I got the same brand, I would have to just buy more of all of it because I couldn't match exactly. And it's also You know, it's like, this is a good project to do. It's not as if I can't do it, but I'm not really enthusiastic about this. So I don't want to go out. I don't want to ship in yarn. I don't want to do any of that. I just want to work from what I have and get it done and get it finished, and then everything will be good. The end.
Yep.
So yes.
I totally understand.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So that's exciting. And apparently knit that in like a week, which is amazing to, I don't know. You amaze me. I'm astonished. Your skill is unsurpassed.
Well, I would not say unsurpassed. And also I had a lot of days off in that week.
Oh yeah, good point.
So it's just me sitting knitting going, rah, 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 rah. Okay, it's not that bad. Don't complain that much. That's the noise I make when I anger knit. It just for the record.
So I've mentioned,
you don't know anything about that.
No, I don't know anything about that. Actually, I've mentioned, and everybody who's watched this knows about the Stop the Steal hats and how so we have a lot of them to do, but we are more than halfway through the pile.
Yay!
So
congratulations.
Thank you. If you're watching and you ordered on like the 4th, 5th, 6th, they're coming. That's like where we are. We had a lot. The 2nd, 3rd, 4th. I think the 4th we had like 15 orders. It was a lot. So we're getting through it. But I've been feeling kind of bad because my mom knits like 2 hats to my 1, sometimes 3, depending on like what I have going on in my life and what she has going on. And so yesterday I had to work. I worked. I clean houses, so I had to clean 2 houses. So I worked all day. Mm-hmm. And I get back to my mom's to get my kids, and she holds up ribbing about this big. And she goes, "This is all I got done today." And I was like, "I'm sorry that's all you got done today, but like I feel a little bit better now. You had my kids all day long, and you're in the same spot I am, and that makes me feel a little bit less like I'm sucking out."
It's like, oh, good, we understand.
Yeah, she's good because I mean she did school for me. They did the school at my mom's house yesterday, and lunch and all the stuff that takes time that you have to do. And so I was like, I'm and she's going, "I could have done more." And I'm like, well, yeah, I get that, but it is what it is. It's priorities.
Yeah, you need to do real life things too.
Exactly. So I was just happy to know that it's not just me. When you're doing all the other stuff, you can't knit a hat a day, which makes me feel less lame. But so that's what I've been knitting. I have been knitting. Oh, I did make a hat. So on Christmas Eve, I finished my husband's buffalo plaid hat. Mm-hmm. Fabulous. He wears it all the time. Okay. It looks great on him. It will be my next pattern when I have time to write a pattern. So I finished that, and I mentioned that I was making something for my stepbrother's fiance. Mm-hmm. And I knit up this big chunky hat. I swear it took me like 2.5 hours to make the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I knit that up. I'll try to get a picture of it. I meant to take one of her on Christmas Eve when I gave it to her, but we went to hug and I bashed her in the face with all my earrings, and then she got like a boink on her face, and then I spent the rest of the night telling her how sorry I was that I bashed her in the face with my earrings. No. So I forgot to get a picture. But yeah, so I did have a quick break from Stop the Steal knitting, but only a tiny bit, maybe 4 hours that was knitting of other things. So, but that's what I've been doing. And then this is my one exciting thing. I got these stitch markers. Can you see them, Anne? Knitting McCurley Hexie stitch markers. I love them. I love them. They're really great.
Very pretty.
Because I've mentioned, can you see it on my knitting? Mm-hmm. I've mentioned before that
and your lovely nails.
Oh, thank you. It is New Year's Eve today, so gotta be a little fancy. I've still got my regular plaid on, but I got the nails.
Yeah, that's right.
But when I knit, I don't like to look at my knitting. And so I really like these stitch markers because they're metal,
Right.
so they're sturdy. And when I'm knitting, I really feel them.
Right.
And they've got the little corners on them, so that you notice it. It's not just like a regular circle one where you might go by it, or it's squishy, and I like them. I like them a lot. That's the story about them. And it's my one exciting thing. I had actually ordered them to give to my mom, but then she got a whole set of interchangeable needles instead. So woohoo! I got some really cool stitch markers.
Like, so that's how it goes.
It worked out pretty well for me. I won't lie.
So Merry Christmas to me. That was one of the Stein things about people who in their Zoom calls are buying books to look smarter. And
no.
Yeah. So they can put them in the back of their Zoom calls and be like, oh yes, I always hang out in my library with my 15 first editions of the Oxford Dictionary. And it's like, what?
I hang out with these guys.
Uh-huh.
They make me feel pretty.
Well, it's like, for me, it's like, first of all, that's never worked for me. Secondly, all of my books are like out of frame. Like, I have bookshelves over here, they're over there, they're every which way. I have books propping up my webcam right now. And, it's like, if you want to donate any books to make me look smarter, I'll take them. But just give me all of them, and then I can hold them in one big.
So speaking of books, that's the one thing I was going to tell you about, because I haven't been doing much other than knitting Stop the Steel Hats, but I have listened to 3 Sophie Kinsella audiobooks.
Okay.
So she's a British author, and like the one that I just finished, it starts out with they're on a plane and there's turbulence, and she's convinced that they're going to die. So she tells all of her darkest secrets to the guy sitting next to her, who Monday morning turns out to be the CEO of her company.
Oh, crap.
So there are those kinds of like, and there's usually a boyfriend that he's kind of doesn't get her, and the guy that she meets. They're kind of like Hallmark movies in book form. And they're British, so the narrators always have the most lovely voices and lovely accents, but yeah, so that's what I've been doing with my knitting, is listening to these audiobooks that are nothing political, nothing that is enriching me to be a smarter fan. Nope, I am listening to like romantic comedies on tape.
Exactly.
And it's been so much fun, I won't even lie.
Well, so you're doing that, and we all have different coping mechanisms in the world. And transitioning to the news segment, so I've been sitting here, and it's like, oh man, I'm yesterday I had a headache, and I'm like, okay, doing the podcast tomorrow, let's go find some news. And we ought to be talking about the US election and all of the implications of that. And I'm like, yeah, give me some Brexit. Yeah, okay. Like, I just want British men to tell me about policy decisions. Is that so hard to ask? And, anyway, so yeah, that's what I do with my time. And I've watched so many Lawrence Fox videos that we have got to the bottom of YouTube. It was a video of his wedding in 2007, the type of which don't even exist anymore. It was a video montage of all the pictures the Daily Mail took with like this 90s girl band grunge background singer. And they're like, the Photoshop loop. And I'm like, first of all, why did I click on this video? Second of all, what's going on here? Third of all, I'm still impressed with David Tennant because he wore a mauve velvet suit to his co-star's wedding. Like, that was... Anyways.
Dude, I guess if you can pull off mauve velvet, then you absolutely should.
I know.
Because I'm pretty sure I couldn't, so whatever.
No, seriously. Like... It's like, oh, I remember the mauve velvet suit. That's important. Also, who the heck wears a jacket with their wedding gown? So yeah, that's the petty stuff that I'm also sitting here like, yes, Nigel's speech on it's a tale of two bad deals. We have the British Brexit, and yay, Brexit is a massive achievement. It's 30 years in the making, but they still have all these little screwy things where it's the bad deal with the EU, and like Britain doesn't have powers over their own waters. Like eventually they will have to pay the European Union compensation for their own fish as it is written out now. So lots of junk there. And then over here in America, which not quite as consequential as Brexit, but a little though, where we have the stimulus deal, and both deals you seem to be looking at like, oh, well, they're bad, but we hope to, fix it in post. We hope to sort of change it later into something better. And like, yeah, but it's a bad deal now and you signed it. So, I mean, not that I don't have faith in either Trump or hopefully the British people. Not that the British people are my purview, but it's that sort of a, like, okay, well, it's changed to $2,000 now. I guess
that whole deal is just awful. The freaking amount of money they sent to other people is insane. They're not looking out for our best interests. And I might say something that other people don't like, but I think that if you didn't lose your job, if your housing's not in jeopardy, if your standard of living hasn't totally changed during this, you shouldn't get money. It should go to people who actually really need it. Right.
No, I totally get it. And even, me, my job has been the same throughout. And, it's like the three hands of this. Like, on one hand, I don't think the government should be indiscriminately handing people money. That's a bad precedent. Like you said, if you've lost your job, if the government has forced you not to work, and all of that, I think would be best if the government just said, we're all open. Like none of this, no shenanigans. That would fix a lot right there. But if you lost your job, if you've had problems with this and that, totally, I understand it. But yeah, the weirdness of getting the money. But on the other hand, I'm like, ooh, but I could use a new vehicle. And the third hand is, or I could go to Disney World. So it's like, wow, this is really great. This will really pay some bills. I'm like, they are doing some cut rates in Orlando right now. So
but I mean, like, I didn't work.
Right.
While things were going on, I did not clean houses because people have been working from home and social distancing and all of that stuff. So, and I clean rentals. And so if they're not being rented, I'm not getting paid.
Right. If no one's going anywhere, then why?
Right. But in the whole scheme of things, my income doesn't carry us. I'm lucky enough that my husband has a job that carries us. And so we've been okay. But there are people who like can't eat, can't pay their rent, and then the rent not being paid is the new thing where the freaking people who own the buildings can't pay taxes and can't pay. Right. Like that kind of thing needs to be addressed. And it just, and the whole, no, you're right. We just need to open.
Right.
And stop all this nonsense and move on. But hey, speaking of the relief bill and whatever. So when Germany got their COVID vaccines, they gave their first one to a woman who was 101 who survived the Spanish flu.
Right.
And they gave their first dose to a person in their 90s. In the US, we're giving it to politicians and criminals.
Right.
Like, what the hell? My God. What is wrong with us?
Right. It's just like, these are our priorities. Oh, and I saw the first woman with a virtue signaling, I got my COVID vaccine button. And I'm like, wow, they don't come in armbands? Wow. I didn't. I would have thought that you would have gone for that option. But
well, you're going to have your card to do anything. So
yeah.
Yeah, let's not even talk about that, please.
Yeah, no. And just a big old no. And again, no.
Okay, so I'm going to go with no on that then.
Oh, good. That's what I was thinking.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point out the shining example of our priorities in the
Yes.
United States. And there are 7 states who are giving the vaccine to criminals first.
Mm.
We've got my lovely state, New York, and then we've got Massachusetts and Delaware. And I'm not certain of the other ones, but
Mm.
I'm pretty sure that they all fall into that, bright, shiny blue part of our map. So
Well,
probably California, I would assume, but I don't know.
and I mean, again, with the multiple hands, I'm like that one Indian goddess with the hands all over. But the, where you have, okay, hello, if the vaccine works, our priority ought to be the people most at risk. On the other hand, when you have a vaccine, when you're not allowed to question it, I'm guessing there's be some crazy side effects. And if that is the case, maybe we shouldn't, kill people with the cure. Or again, have the, if what's going on with the vaccine seems iffy, then maybe in the end it works out to not give it to our most vulnerable people, where something could tip it over, that their life potentially could be tipped over the edge with the side effects. Like, you don't want that. But but also, where the heck are your priorities? If this is the savior that you say it is, then ought it not be to actually save people?
Right.
And
no, my husband,
I was just saying, and just like the massive amount of just brainwashing that we're all walking around, you have the masks and everything else, and we're all perpetuating the big lie, something that was super chic in Stalin's time. And we think that because it's us lying, that makes it okay. Well, if it's us, then no terrible consequences could possibly come with it. I mean, that only happens to other people. It's ridiculous.
It's totally fine, whatever.
Anyways, sorry, what you were saying.
Oh, no, I was just going to mention that I told my husband about the whole, the prisoners receiving it first. And dude, sometimes I hate talking to the man because he always is right or has a point or and I just want him to not show me up once in a while. But I said, can you believe that they're giving it to the prisoners first? And he goes, well, since they are incarcerated, maybe it's a lawsuit kind of thing where they, to protect them, they have access to it. And I was like, I hate it when you bring up points like that. Like, could you just go on my rant with me? Let's go down this rant together.
Hold my hand, we're ranting now.
Yes. Come on, man.
I mean, you do have the lawsuit thing, but again, in the conspiratorial side, are you giving it to prisoners because you think that prisoners are sort of like, oh, well, if we lose a couple, like what? Like, that's terrible. Like, what if that's, I have concerns. I have concerns in every direction. Every option, you have the 2 points on either side and they're both bad. You're like, anyways.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Interesting ideas.
Mere speculation on our part, of course. We don't have.
Oh yeah, no, we know nothing. This is just things we think of in our heads. Yeah. And then we say to each other. That's the reason there's usually so much giggling.
Probably.
So anyway.
Anyways.
What else, ma'am?
I believe you wanted to talk about Louie Gohmert.
Yeah, Louie Gohmert. I don't know much about him though, so I can talk about him, but I don't know. I've just heard him once on Rush's show the other day, and that's all I know about him. But he's a dude in Texas. And when I say a dude, I mean an elected official such as a senator. Let's see.
I don't believe he's
member of the House of Representatives from Texas's first district.
There you go.
I don't have his Wikipedia page up right now.
And I can also say that he has guest hosted on Rush a couple of times. And I believe last year with the State of the Union that I believe it was him that had Nigel Farage as his guest. So there you go. So,
So, Louie Gohmert
Yes.
is a guy from the House of Representatives in Texas, and he has a lawsuit going on. And I wish I understood more of it so I could really break it down for you guys. But the gist of it is that he's suing Mike Pence because he wants Pence to call the electors into question and cause a vote, more or less, right?
Right.
He wants to use the 12th Amendment to get Pence to weigh in on what's happening.
Right. I believe that part of the lawsuit is clarifying the vice president's powers when it comes to electors.
Okay.
That it's
so
it's not that Pence
crazy.
hasn't done anything. It's that he wants a legal decision on exactly what the powers of the vice president is, in my understanding.
Right. And so he wants, because the reason that he's making this into an issue is because because of the question of all the states, because of the fraud concerns. He's saying that Pence should, you know what I mean,
should only confirm the other electors, not the ones based on the votes, in which there's a lot of questions about fraud. And I say questions, I mean video evidence and affidavits and all those fun things that you don't generally dismiss.
Yeah. Well, no, we are not allowed to say that they're true. So we'll call them questions.
Questions.
Yeah.
Like bigly.
Bigly.
So many questions.
Yeah. It's but I heard Louie Gohmert on Rush's show a couple days ago, and that's what got me into, because I didn't even know this was happening. Seriously, I've been so deep into those romance comedy books that I haven't watched the news. I've been knitting and
hey, it's Christmas.
Yeah, it's Christmas, and I just, like, super important stuff is going on, but it's funny. One of the ladies I work for, she has a rental. Her husband is a police officer, and she is super into politics and super like conservative. And I was talking to her yesterday. I was told her about the success of the Stop the Steal pattern. And she goes, well, what's Stop the Steal? And I'm like, she hasn't been watching the news.
Right.
Everybody is so sick of it. And it's terrible because we should know what's going on. But on the other hand, man, I'm exhausted.
I always think that it isn't really the Christmas season unless Stein is on for Rush. Because, I mean, now you have all these guest hosts because he's been ill. But Stein would always do the Boxing Day show and, make jokes about how Boxing Day isn't a thing in America. But, so he would generally guest host for Rush during the holidays. Anyways, cool. But yeah, it's like, I've had people message me, so what's going on in the news? And I'm like, the Reclaim Party moved their platform launch to the 1st of January. Not as if I've been totally out of it. I've been, flipping through the Epic Times, and the Epic Times is like, let me tell you about how many members of the Chinese Communist Party have been embedded in various embedded or openly part of, depending on who you ask, various large corporations, and with suing for, I guess, suing Pence, but suing to see the powers of the vice president. We have that Pence was supposed to take a trip to Israel, that he would have been in Israel on the 6th, and he canceled that trip. So, that's exciting. But Trump is speaking at the rally on the 6th, not the rally, the protest, the thing that the Stop the Steal, the thing that he double dog dared everyone to go to.
Yeah, I wish I could go. Somebody messaged me and they were like, are you going to go? And it's just too far. My husband has to work. I got the kids. It's just like, I would love to, but
I know.
I think for me to drive to DC, it's like 10 or 12 hours or something. It's not a day trip or what I mean?
Right. A friend of mine is still like, come on, you could do it. We could go. And I'm like, I would have to book a flight, get time off work in less than a week's time, and then do it. And I'm like, but then again, the call of adventure.
Yeah, I would love to. And I think if things, well, honestly, I probably wouldn't go anyway because my husband would be horribly concerned about me going with all of the stuff that's been happening with the counter protesters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that his worry would be too great for me to go.
Right. Well, the same friend of mine is like, ooh, we should go to the March for Life, which is at the end of January.
Mm-hmm.
And like, well, that would be interesting. And the whole money
cool.
and time off work. And then of course she also said that if the Donald is handing you $2,000, then why aren't you using it for the Donald? I'm like, wow, that's some argument there.
Wow, that is a good argument. I think I know which friend this is.
I know. And like, I actually have bills to pay.
I think, yeah. But I would love to go, but man, I would love to see all these people. And I just got a picture of a person who purchased my hat, and she said she's going to the march and she's wearing it, and it's so cute. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness, I love this.
But
that's
awesome.
Yeah. And there's another person who told me that they're going to wear theirs to the march. And I'm like, oh, maybe we'll see them. Maybe we'll see them somewhere and it'll be awesome.
You'll be watching coverage like, oh, wow, you're really paying attention to the screen and you're like looking for your hats.
Yeah, that'd be cool though. But anyway, sorry.
But yeah, it's a thing where it's like, I'd love to go. It is a distance from where I am. It is.
Yeah. I don't really like to fly, so I would drive, and it's far to drive. Mm-hmm. It's far. It's farther for you, but
considerably, yes. But yeah.
Yeah, but on the 6th, there's also the joint session of the House and the Senate. Mm-hmm. Where they're going to confirm electors or attempt to. Mm-hmm. And already.
And let me talk again about my worthless weasels of senators, because I got a little flack for, for saying that John Thune was a feckless panty waist. But let me tell you, was that confirmed or what? Like, I was so right. And you're like, oh, but Anne, you voted for them. Well, yes, I did, unfortunately, but I didn't vote for them in the primaries. It's like, oh, what good has it been for me to vote for Republican Senate candidates if John Thune is going to be like, oh, yeah, the contesting the electors will die like a dead dog? You absolute, you are a lackey for the turtle. That is all you want. And I'm not saying that Mitch McConnell hasn't done some things, but still, it's like, so Thune and Rounds have, who is my other Republican senator, who the only person who looks up to him with adoration is that statue of a dog that they have, because in Pierre they have all of the statues of governors, and he is sitting, and his statue is awkwardly holding a shotgun where the lab is like looking up at him. I'm like, did anyone consult the dog? Does the dog actually look at him like that? It's unclear. But anyways, so Rounds, because in South Dakota everybody switches seats around. Thune was in the Senate, but before he was in the Senate, he was in Congress. And Rounds is in the Senate, but before he was in the Senate, he was a governor. And even Kristi Noem was a representative, and now she is the governor. So it's just like shuffle.
So you guys just keep recycling your people?
We only have 3 people apparently, and Dusty Johnson. So 4. And again, so John, there's everyone was at Mount Rushmore, and there's Thune just simpering and Rounds just simpering when Trump was there. And then why don't you shut off your phone inbox when your people want to get in contact with you? Maybe your constituents have a couple of concerns about the just slimy way you are conducting yourself. Do you work for us? you know, your big fat pharma checks are going to stop when we vote you out, buddy. Like, where do you think your income's coming from? If you want, the swamp can keep you. Just if you're not going to listen to the people who you're supposed to work for, then why are you there? Okay, if we're paying your rent, I think we should get a little, oh, well, I'm doing well for South Dakota because I am the big shot in the Senate. Yeah, buddy. Oh, darling, I did all this work for you. Yeah, right. Get. Anyways, sick and tired.
Man,
Yeah.
Don't hold back. Tell me how you really feel.
Seriously. What? Just, oh, there goes my camera all wonky. But it's, I am so upset. And then Trump had a lovely tweet about how, about Thune just being and he said South Dakota does not tolerate weakness. I'm like, can I get that on a shirt? Can I get a big seriously, what was it? 67% of South Dakotans voted for Trump for president. And he's just like, oh, well, I mean, like, my people won't care if I roll over like a.
Oh, no, your people are going to care.
Oh, we care.
And I think that's something that they're forgetting.
Right.
You aren't doing the job you got hired for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that enough people have been, had their eyes open to it, that these people aren't going to keep their jobs forever.
Right.
I really don't think it's going to work out the way they think it is anymore.
Yeah. And what is our problem? You're not looking into cases of voter fraud. Oh, I say that anyone who does not look into cases of voter fraud, investigate their behinds. Because if they don't care, maybe there's a reason.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, and it's absolutely shameful. All right, so I've said before that, of course, I love Kristi Noem as governor. She wasn't a particularly impressive House of Representative, but she has been an excellent governor. She's been very, very good. But her statement about Thune was like, it was like that she wouldn't run against Thune for Senate. I'm like, literally, who is asking you to run against Thune for Senate? And again, why are there only 4 people who we could possibly ever vote for in South Dakota? Like, like people are saying like, oh, you should run for president. Kristi, I know you can't run for everything. What kind of a non-statement is that? What's going on here? Surely we have other options. But
apparently not.
Apparently
in
not.
South Dakota, you get Thune and you get Noem and like a couple other people we don't really know who they are.
Right. Browns and Johnson. These are your only choices. Like,
oh wow.
Gosh. Well, at least we're not the era of Tom Daschle, but what kind of consolation is that? But,
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he was Democrat of note that we have many a Porta-John named after. The Tom Daschle Memorial Rest Stop. Run up a flag and have some ugly arches. And, Anyways, so yeah, that's my personal rant. I just want to put up a big billboard. John Thune is a panty waist. And that is what I want my statement to be, because he is one of those Mitt Romney types where, wouldn't say poo if he had a mouthful. Oh, well, this isn't becoming. And it's like, no, you're worthless. And if you think that, oh, well, I'm not going to ruffle any feathers is actually helping anybody, like again, why are you there to sit on committees you don't show up for? Like, oh, well, I'm a Republican and I'm the respectable, I'm this and I'm that. Like, you do nothing. Get out. Anyways, I'm ticked.
So, Anne is mad at Thune. I don't have feelings about him. I just don't know who he is. And I live in New York, so I have enough people to be angry at that I can't possibly bother with hers also.
You have miles. Again, I've taken all this time to rant about, South Dakota and what's going on there. And you're like, oh, well.
Well, let me tell you something.
No,
I'm not
seriously.
in her district, but we've got AOC and we've got Cuomo and we've got Schumer and we've got like, come on.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
know.
just tell you, it could be worse.
That is true. None of my people have put COVID patients in nursing homes. So we got that going for us.
So, no, but Cuomo was on the news talking about how our region has a higher spike.
Mhm.
Dude, you were sending them to us.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen, genius?
Yes.
You imported them into our hospitals and now our numbers are high. Well, go figure.
And then he wrote a book about it.
Freaking can't.
I know.
Anyway.
Seriously.
So I'm trying to talk about the 6th fan.
Oh, the 6th, yes.
So on the 6th, that's when they do the elector thing, right?
Right.
That's the technical term. That's when they do the elector thing.
Oh, yes. It's in the Constitution. Actually,
You know,
it's not.
that
The only
thing where
day
we,
in the
like, vote.
Constitution is the 20th. But, you know.
I know, but, you know, totally technical here.
Yep.
But there's a whole bunch of people in the House who are talking about how they're going to object.
Mhm.
And then there's one senator that I have found so far,
Yeah.
Josh Hawley, who is from what, Illinois? No, that's not right.
I'm not sure. He's a junior senator.
The only senator who is totally on board with this objection to the electors is Josh Hawley from Missouri. And,
Yes.
you know, it just goes to show that all of these guys are just out for themselves.
Yeah.
They don't really care what's happening.
No, I was I didn't get to watch all the nights or everything, but the Turning Point USA, that they had a big conference this past week. And I was watching it because, again, my governor, Kristi Noem, was on it. And Tucker Carlson's speech was there. That was one of the best speeches I think I've ever heard Tucker Carlson give. It was really good. Look it up. But, you know, Tucker Carlson was on, but when I had started listening, it was Rand Paul. And then I believe, I'm trying to remember who the speaker was. I want to say Gorsuch, but maybe not. But he was saying that everyone put pressure on your House and state candidates, but also we just had Rand Paul on and everyone's cheering, yay, Rand Paul. But he has not said that he will contest the votes. And you have Ted Cruz, big butch Ted Cruz, and he has not said he would contest the votes. Well, why? If he, I'm out there standing, and again, I like Ted Cruz on principle, but why isn't he? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
No, that's a good point. And why? What are they scared of?
Right.
What, 74 million people voted for Trump? If you are in a Republican spot, probably more of your people voted than didn't. So listen to what they have to say. That's my dead enough, so I'm done.
Oh man, no.
I'll fix it.
Yeah. Anyways, it's just so like, oh yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that our Republican senators who can ask tough questions of our media czars and then again, nothing. And I know like the slow grind of the law and everything, but it's like I'd like some actual action. Oh, well, I did this and I did that. But okay, so you did some lovely, you know, Republican conservative stuff, but this is getting really like, this is, you know, Facebook and Twitter and Google and everybody, they have more control over people and over information than do most countries. Okay, right. You need to be doing something about this. If our votes don't matter in America, that is an insane problem. And like, oh, well, you know, if we shuffle that to the side, then we'll get away from the mean partisanship of Trump. It's like, no, Trump is not, it's like it's Trump's fault for actually doing what he says he would do. It's Trump's fault for, you know, like making actual change and progress in America. It's, you know, and it's his fault for bringing it up, not your fault for going along in the decline forever.
Right. Well, I think that the main issue with Trump is that everybody was pretty happy to roll along, happy, you know, maybe they were in the swamp, but kind of on the edge where it wasn't so bad and, good jobs. And Trump came in and said, no, I'm going to do this. And then he really started to do it and everybody got all ticked off because, everybody hope and change. And then there's never any hope or change. So.
Right. And then it's the pretense that Obama was anybody worth having in office. And that is one of the things that, from the Obama era and difference between Obama and Trump. Obama era, he'd be like, and guess how much money that he gave, through this fund and whatever he gave to terrorists. Yay. Nothing like $4 billion on a pallet to Iran. And that was the kind of things like, oh, by the way, so he did this, and you'd be like, oh, that's terrible. And then this, and by the way, he did that. And Trump is like, everything from, oh, by the way, I just lifted all of these regulations, so it's much easier for farmers, to, by the way, I think classical education is important. And the other day, I think the 21st of December, and it was just this, it was an executive order saying that public buildings should have a classical style instead of these ugly, brutalist concrete blocks. And I'm like, again, it's not a big issue, but it's just like, oh, thank you, Trump. It's like something in my Christmas stocking. This is something that, people have been talking about for years. Like, you look at a school and it looks like a prison. And it's like, oh, this is the public building and it is hideous. And it's degrading to the soul to look upon it. Like, this is our highest, building in the city. And you're like, yeah, and it's gross.
Yeah, nobody likes it. But anyway, so the thing about, I want to say this about the people voting on the 6th. It's fine. It's fine. But so Holly has said that he's going to vote. There are some House people who said they're going to vote. Madison Cawthorn, who's a new representative from North Carolina, is been out there talking about it. And I think that that's another good thing that happened from Trump that nobody's really talking about, is that we've gotten some really interesting, outspoken conservatives who aren't afraid to be conservative,
right? Which
has been a lot of the trouble. But so these guys are like, yeah, we're gonna object to this process and whatever. And the Democrats, oh, you can't object, that's blah blah. Want to know when they objected? They objected in 04. They objected in 16. I mean, maybe they didn't object. I heard that they didn't object properly and they didn't do it right, and that's part of what the issue was. But you can't. That's the problem with the liberals. They don't want people to know their history, because then they can't spin their stories.
Right.
They can't say how bad it is that the Republicans are objecting if you know that they also did it. They just want us to be ignorant so that they can just tell us whatever they think that we want to hear right now.
Right. And the Democrats have a long history of, excuse me, that object, resist, be loud and obnoxious and just, just as in your face as possible. And Republicans are like the very meek, Republicans, unfortunately, are the nerds who want to sit with the cool kids, and they don't understand that the cool kids will never like them anyways. So you might as well start your own cool kid club, because they will be just dissed and harassed and, in the high school analogy, but it's okay, I'll still do your homework. Like, there's... and the Democrats will sit there and complain and whatever else. But if the Republicans so much as say a little bit, well, then the Republicans are the devil. And at this, you have to understand that you will be called whatever names no matter what you do. So you might as well do the right thing.
Right. And it's really funny because, like, not that I'm complaining, but, I got that email from Etsy saying, oh, you can have your account suspended and whatever. And I know that I can't be the only person who had a product removed. I am not the only person that had to stop the steal item off. Right. But did you hear about anybody else? No, because we've gotten to the point where we just kind of blend into the woodwork. Oh, well, I don't want me there. I'm going to go away. Okay. And it's just, I don't know. It's just really messed up. There's, so, the whole knitting community thing with Karen Templar and how racist the knitting community is. There was an article done. Maria Tuscan was a part of it. She talked about it when she was on our show about the purity spiral.
Right.
And when they wrote the article, they reached out to like 20 of the people who led the charge against these horrible racist knitters. Not a single one would talk to the newspaper because they want us to just cower in fear and go away. And then when they're called on it, they don't really follow through. They don't seem to know what to do. And so we need to just start calling. We need to start saying, this is what we got. And I don't give a crap if you like me or not.
Right. I
was not cool in high school, so I don't have that issue about wanting to sit with the cool kids.
Right.
I was not.
Right. And, you have, there's many a very liberal yarn dyer, designer, whatever, who they are totally happy to write an Instagram post or a Twitter post about how the world is so tough for them and all of these people trying to bring them down. And then you have, it's very easy to create a narrative when you're the one writing the post. But when news reporters come in, they're like, wow, I'd like to get your statement. Nope. Nothing.
Nope. I can't possibly come and talk to you about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but I am proud of what I do. Mm-hmm. I am happy to say what I think and whatever. And I have, whenever I've gotten an interview opportunity, I've done it. It hasn't been many because, I'm on the side they don't really want to talk to, but man, I believe in what I'm doing. And so if you want to talk to me, I am all about it. And if these social justice warriors truly believe in what they're doing and think that they're right and everything, then why wouldn't they want to come out there and have a big platform? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't they want to be like, dude, look at me and what I am doing because it is awesome.
Right.
But hey, who am I? Who the heck am I to say anything, right?
Anyways, on that note, so we have a giveaway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so there are other people who want to stand up and speak out, and we have a giveaway from Cedar Hill Yarns because she's awesome.
That's right. Yep. And as you may recall, she was our first guest on our show, and you can go ahead and check out her interview, which is pretty awesome. But yes, she's been more, vocal about her beliefs recently. And okay, so the plan for the giveaway, let me make sure that I'm looking at the dates. So this video is going out on January the 2nd. So you will have from January the 2nd to the 8th, that'd be Friday the 8th of 2021, which is exciting. Sorry, the year changes over. I'm like, oh, look at this. But yes, so to enter the giveaway, you have to subscribe to us on Rumble and comment to us on that platform.
Comment on this episode.
Comment on this episode on Rumble.
On Rumble, yes. We're making you do something and you can win.
That's right. And then you'll win. And then
you could win, not you'll win.
You will win. No. So we're going to choose two different winners. First winner gets this beautiful Gnome for Christmas sock yarn set. It is lovely. It is precious. Look at this. It makes you so happy. And it's so
pretty.
It is, and it's self-striping. So all of these little colors, I love self-striping yarn. It makes me happy. And also a cute little stitch marker. Can you see it? Nope,
you can't see it. But it has, for a second I saw it.
There we go. There's a gnome in there somewhere.
So yay, exciting.
Yay. So yep, first winner will receive that. And then the second winner will get, and we'll have to insert a picture of this lovely, lovely little bag that she has sewn with little patriotic baubles on it. So it's very exciting. And yes. So, and then once we will announce the winners, hopefully on our next video. And then if you see that you've won, please email us in the link below so we can go ahead and get your address.
Yes.
So
Yes, exactly. And it's exciting stuff. And if you don't follow Cedar Hill Yarns, you should.
she
has great products, and she is quite patriotic on her own right. And she
Right.
I've gotten a lot of information from her actually that I wasn't aware of. So
right.
A good person to follow.
Definitely. She has her own website, and I don't know if it's going on still, but she had an after Christmas sale, which is quite exciting. She has wool from her own sheep that she sells on her website. She has different sock yarns, different bases. She has a Back the Blue yarn colorway that you can check out. And I believe, again, besides her own website and blog, she's on Facebook. She's on Instagram. I believe she's on Parler. She's on Vero. So, whoever quality yarn dyers.
Wherever you are, you can find her.
You can find Kia. The truth is out there, and so is Kia. Follow her. So yeah,
you're too funny. So yeah, if you want to win, go to Rumble, comment on our post, and you'll be eligible. So woohoo.
And subscribe. Comment and subscribe.
Yes, comment and subscribe. Sorry. Comment and subscribe, and you'll be eligible to win. So, and we'll announce it on the 9th episode. So that'll be exciting stuff.
That's right. So. We have been doing this for half a year. Is that exciting or what?
I can't believe we've been doing it for half a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's craziness right there.
Started in the first week of June.
Wow. Amazing. But hey, thanks for joining us for this 6-month adventure, and we plan on keeping on. So
that's right.
We'll see you next week with more info. Next week, there should be a lot to talk about. So
yes. Whew, I hope it's good.
Yeah, I know, me too.
Inigo,
but have a happy New Year.
We win.
Yes, but happy New Year, friends, and we will see you soon.
All right, happy New Year. Bye.
All right, bye.